Welcome to Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt of the Marquardt Law Firm at marquardtlawfirm.com.
Welcome back to Talk Law Radio. I'm Todd Marquardt, on the radio, on podcasts, on Facebook Live, and on YouTube. Today I'm talking to Mike and Laura Pierce about commercial financing. We talked a lot about that last segment, so if you missed it, just find that Facebook Live video or find us on YouTube a little bit later on this week. This segment, I want to devote more toward some of the other businesses that they run. I would call you guys serial entrepreneurs. One thing that you did in your past was senior care. Tell us about that experience and tell us about how you help people that are interested in franchises.
Well, since we have a really strong background in senior care, we have developed a new company, KPI Queen, which is also driven by DDS Metrics, which is our own proprietary dashboard. And what we do is we help home care companies that are struggling out there to become more profitable. We work a lot with independents as opposed to the franchise brands. So I guess kind of our goal is to bring franchise level resources to the little guys and help them be able to grow their business and be more profitable and sleep at night. We know that it's a very difficult business and sleep is valuable, so we we help people be able to figure out what's going on in their business, trim the fat. I mean,
and really understand their numbers, because a lot of people, business owners, they have a business, they just don't understand their numbers. They don't really know what's on their balance sheet. They don't know how to read their profit and loss. They can't make business decisions necessarily off of those kind of numbers, which they need to be able to do. A lot of people, they have money coming in, and then they see what's in their bank account, and they're just kind of like, well, why don't I have,
why don't I have more?
Yeah, why don't I have more?
Right. Which can be explained in a quick ratio. That's, your liabilities divided into your assets versus assets into liabilities. I'm dyslexic.
There's a ratio.
There is a ratio. And, basically it's telling you for every dollar of assets you have, X amount to pay for your debt. And, if you have it below 1, you're in trouble. And that's what a lot of banks look at. And that helps us, when we're talking to people, to be able to, tell them, why you weren't, quote unquote, bankable to the banks. We might have to step back a little bit and, restructure debt in order to get that cash flow in.
Yep.
Or help, figure out ways to improve your collections. That's a big one right there, is collections. A lot of people do not, they don't watch their accounts, receivable very carefully. And that can certainly get you into trouble pretty quickly.
So you've worked in a franchise. That was the senior care industry when you were in West Virginia?
Virginia.
Yep. And you've also been helping businesses that are not in a franchise. So you know both how franchises work and how independent businesses work. And because of your work with the senior industry, you wrote an ebook.
I did. It's called Senior Care Simplified. It's not simple, but I thought that was a good catchy title. We're going through it with my parents right now. My dad has frontal lobe dementia, and what works today doesn't work tomorrow, and it's really difficult. And I think a lot of families struggle with things like taking away the keys. How to care for someone with dementia. You can't.
You need to watch them. If somebody wants that book, how can they get it from you? Can they email you?
Well, we can put a direct link on your website if you'd like.
Okay. But if they're listening now.
Yeah, it's kind of like fresh off the press, so to speak, because Laura has just finished.
I finished it like 3 days ago.
Oh, okay.
So it will be up on our KPI Queen website probably by the end of this upcoming week, I guess.
Okay. What's the address for that?
And it's www.kpiqueen.com.
Okay. And so are you the KPI Queen?
I am. I even made myself a little paper hat. I walk around, do the little wave. I love KPIs, and that was transformative.
Let's define what that is.
Well, it's
KPI.
Okay, key performance indicators. It was, I would say, pretty much an awakening when we had our business back in 2007 and 8. Everything started to fall apart. We were losing business. We weren't making any money. I took a class called Financial Management for Non-Finance People, and then we also educated ourselves with a Profit Mastery course. And we started looking at each and every one of our expenses and how raises were being done for our employees and how our employees were performing. And we started putting in different metrics for each of them. And we began to see an increase in our business actually went down, but we ended up making more money just by using KPIs and understanding, how to more effectively use our capital and get the most out of our business. KPIs have a cascading effect, and once you start looking at that top and you start digging deeper, you're able to really streamline your business and make more money. I mean, that's why we're in business.
Yeah, and one of the businesses that you have is the franchise broker. Is that what it's called?
Yes. Yeah, professional franchise brokers.
Tell us how that works.
So, when we ended up selling our businesses and kind of getting out of our franchise, we wanted to stay in the franchising industry because we do feel that it has a lot of value. It helps a lot of people be able to start a business and grow a business. And so we became brokers and being able to help people who do want to, maybe leave corporate America, have their own business, don't know what direction they want to go in or what they want to do, and we would help them find the franchise that would best fit. Because a lot of times people think, well, I want to do what I'm passionate about, and that can be good, but sometimes you need to understand what your ultimate goal is. Your ultimate goal is that you want to be able to replace your income, be able to retire, pass this business down to your kids. Maybe what you're passionate about may not be the one you want to get into. If you're passionate about baking and you open up a bakery, now that you've been baking every day and been involved in that, after about 10, 15 years, you're probably like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
So it is understanding what the real goals are for them, and so we can help them find the right franchise to be able to do that.
What are some good questions that you ask people that are interested? How do you unsurface that? How do you surface that?
Well, a lot of that is going to be defining what their goals are. What is it that you want to accomplish? And we talk to business owners because we'll do some business coaching as well. And it's understanding, what does it look like in the end? When you start this journey, what do you want that to look like in the end? And it could be, I want to build this up in the next 5 years and sell it. It could be, I have kids and I want them to be in the business and I want to pass it down to them.
But you got to ask them first.
Yeah.
We get a lot of people, I don't want to do that.
So it's really understanding what those goals are, and then understanding from a financial standpoint how much are you willing to put in? Because again,
Right.
owning a business is a risk. It's a risk reward. You have to understand the risks going into it, and if you understand that and you know how much money, and think about it, it's like, okay, if I put this money into the business and within a week something big happens and I lose all my money, am I okay? Would I be okay with that?
Yeah.
You kind of have to look at it that way. Not the idea that you're going to fail, but you have to kind of look at those kind of scenarios. So understanding what is their level of risk that they're willing to do and how much capital they're willing to put into the business. So,
Yeah, I always figured whatever happened, I would probably be okay. I mean, there's other things that you could do. Start from the ground up. Y'all have done it several times already, right? Started something.
Sell it.
yeah.
What are let's see if anybody wants to ask a question about franchises. You can call the radio station right now, Saturday, August 24th, at 210-308-8867, 210-308-8867, or you can text Todd at 210-538-4770. That's 210-538-4770, and we can answer a question about franchises. One question, I've reviewed franchise agreements before, and I've helped clients through that process. One thing I always point out to them when I'm talking about their rights and responsibilities is the royalty.
Yes.
So that's That's something that they have to pay based on the production of the business, in addition to whatever they paid to buy in.
Correct.
Right?
Exactly.
And so what are some...
Well, we call it the long-term cost of ownership versus that short-term, which is that initial franchise fee. I mean, we worked with a gentleman who said, well, I'd rather pay $10,000 for my franchise fee and pay 10% royalty as opposed to paying the 6% and a $30,000. In the long run, if you're successful, you're going to end up paying more than your $30,000 in your initial franchise fee. So we look at the whole picture of what it takes to get into that franchise, and what does it look like? Is it going to be home-based? How quickly is it going to ramp up? And also looking at that item 19, one thing that we complain about a lot on the item 19 is it's not very standardized. So it's really hard to read those tea leaves and find out, just how is this franchise performing. We recommend talking to a lot of different franchisees and asking questions like, is your franchisor supporting you? Did they deliver to you what they promised? Do you feel you get good value for your royalties? And I can tell you as franchisees, we would say no, but it was the cost of doing business.
Yeah. Okay, well, we got to take another break, and when we come back, we'll talk about legacy, whatever that means to you guys, and stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
This has been Talk Law Radio with attorney Todd Marquardt, brought to you by the Marquardt Law Firm. You can learn more at marquardtlawfirm.com. And be sure to listen to the full Talk Law Radio show Saturday mornings at 11 on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.
Each week, attorney Todd Marquardt talks about the law. His mission with the Talk Law Radio show and podcast is to help you discover your legal issue blind spots. In the beginning, God had one law. Don't eat from the fruit of that tree. Then came the Ten Commandments. Now we have federal, state, and municipal lawmakers that won't stop creating new laws. Laws that might impact you without you knowing it. Listen to the show and drop a line on Facebook or email host@talklawradio.com and let the host know what you think of the show, the topics you want to hear, and whether you want to be a guest.